Elsie Jensen here. Today we're going to make some omelets. We're going to make actually a couple different types. We're going to make an omelet the way I like with lots of vegetables, and then an omelet the way my kids like with bacon and sausage. So first I'm going to cut up some bacon. I used half of this bacon the other day for some fried potatoes. So I just am going to use the rest of it to make these omelets. So I'm just going to slice them up into little pieces, just like this, so that when I throw them into my pan, they're going to crisp up pretty quickly. So I'll get these half going. I've already got my pan heating on high, and I'm just going to toss them in here. And then I'm going to chop up this our omelet. I like to have them a bit smaller. And then I'm going to cut up. And once I get these cut up, I will toss them into my pan with the other bit of bacon, and I'll let those saute up. Now I'm going to just flip my cutting board over so I can use my clean side for my vegetables. And since I was cutting with the raw bacon, I'm just going to wash my hands real quick. And I'm going to get a new knife. Yeah. And now I'm going to chop up. I have an onion here. Half of an onion that was left over from last night when I cooked dinner. And so I'm going to just cut the sides off. And then I'm going to peel off this yucky outer skin. This is not very good to cook with. And then I'm just going to slice it. And I prefer mine pretty thin. So I'm just going to slice it and thinly, and now I'm going to just dice it. So just cutting through those strips one more time into small diced pieces. There we go. Just like that. And now I have my onions chopped up. And I'm going to then chop up one red pepper. This is a sweet red pepper, not a spicy, even though it's elongated. It's still a sweet pepper. I'm kind of a spice wimp. I don't like my food very spicy. So I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to strip it, because I'm going to dice this as well, because I like them to be thinner pieces, especially in my omelets. I don't want to have a big chunk in there. And I'll dice this up nicely. Easy peasy. And you can hear my bacon starting to sizzle over there. So I'm going to get a pair of tongs out, and I'm going to toss my bacon around so it doesn't just burn, and try to get it all kind of broken apart and clump up there. When you're cooking bacon, I always start out high, and then once all the fat starts to sweat, I turn it down a little lower just so it doesn't burn my bacon before I get it fully crisped up. So I have that. Okay. And then for those who are just joining us now, I am making omelets. We're doing a meat lover's omelet and then a meat and vegetable one. My kids prefer the meat over the vegetable one, but I love a good vegetable omelet. So I've got my red pepper, my sweet red pepper, and I'm chopping up. You find yourself a sippy cup, bud. And I'm going to have some omelets today, Jackie. I'm going to chop it up. I also like to chop it up small so that my 1-year-old can eat it without worrying about him choking. So I have them all chopped up small here. Good job. And now I'm going to stir my bacon again. Make sure I get any of those big clumps that are still stuck together. Those are going to start coming apart. Perfect. And then I'm going to try to spread them out evenly so they all crisp up now. Now I'm going to cut up a couple of, these are baby portobello mushrooms to add in there. And since these are very big mushrooms, I'm going to also cut them in half one more time. That way they're not super huge. Just like that. And I'll cut them in half one more time. And I'll have a nice set of there. And then while my bacon is cooking, we're getting there. It's starting to crisp up. You can see it's getting golden on some of the edges. I'm gonna throw in, while these are crisping, these are already pre-cooked sausages, but you can use fresh sausage, as this is just what I had around on us.
Kelly wants to know what you're making.
We're making omelets. So I'm making a bacon and sausage omelet and then a veggie and meat omelet for breakfast today. It's another snowy day. My kids are out playing in the snow right now. So we're gonna cook up some of these, and I always pre-cook when I make my omelets. I pre-cook my vegetables because I think they taste better than if you were to use just fresh cut up in an omelet. So right now, when I'm done cooking up the bacon and stuff, I'll throw in my veggies right here. So while these are cooking up, I'll have my sausages cooking up on one side. I'm going to slide this over and I'm gonna grate some cheese. You can use pre-shredded cheese. We just had this block of cheese left over from our smorgasbord at Christmas time, which is a Swedish like feast, I would say. So, and it has lots of different things. So this is just a cheddar cheese, and I'm just gonna grate it real quick, but you guys can use pre-shredded, you could use any cheddar cheese. Hi, Jackie. Did you find a toy? And I'm just using a grater here, and you can see after a couple slices, I'll just move it around. I love, pre-grated cheese. The convenience of it is really nice, but when they process it, they put a caking agent on it so it doesn't stick together. So it doesn't have as good as a melting point and as nice as if you use freshly grated. So if you sometimes buy cheese and it looks like it has a little white powdery substance on it, that's the like anti-caking agent that they put on there to prevent it from sticking together and forming into a big chunk. So I have my little block of cheddar cheese here, almost completely shredded. Shredding goes fast. You might feel like, oh, you're afraid you're gonna slip and cut yourself. It's pretty safe. You kind of control how hard you push. You don't need to push very hard to shred your cheese. And boom, I've got that shredded up quickly. I'm gonna give our bacon, you can see it's really getting crispy right over here, which is right where I want it. I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna turn my heat down just a little. This is perfect. And then I'm gonna start mixing my eggs here. Oh, I forgot, I have one tomato I wanna cut up. I'm gonna take out where the stem grows, that part, the core, because that doesn't ever cook up very well. And then I'm gonna dice this up as well. So I'm gonna first slice it, and then I'll cut it into smaller pieces. That way, I like them smaller in there, but also when my little ones eat the omelets, they don't have to worry about a big piece in there when they're chewing. I am a mother of 5, so when I cook, we're typically cooking a feast. So we have a large amount that we need to cook for, especially my the teenage boy who loves to eat healthier. Okay, my bacon looks like it is perfect. So what I'm going to do is to prevent it from cooking anymore, I'm going to just slide it off my heat real quick while I grab a paper towel and a plate. And I'm just gonna pick up my sausages. They were already pre-cooked, so they're warmed up now, so I'm gonna take those off with the bacon. And then I'm gonna cook my vegetables in this bacon grease, just to add a little bit of extra flavor to it. So I'll pull these out. And again, I'm using tongs to take these out because it's much easier than trying to use a spoon. Invest in a couple sets of tongs. I use them multiple times a day throughout my cooking. They're one of my favorite kitchen utensils. Okay, I've got my bacon out. I'm gonna set my sausage and bacon over there to cool. And now I'm going to throw in my onions, mushrooms. I'm gonna wait on my tomatoes until I've sauteed up my onions and my mushrooms and peppers, because the tomatoes will sweat a lot and I won't get a good crisp on my vegetables. So I've got those sauteed up. I'm sauteing them up. I'm gonna give them a good stir. Have them saute right here. And then I'm gonna go grab a little bit of garlic salt, because I love to season with garlic salt. Adds a nice flavor in there. A little bit of garlic salt, so it has a nice little seasoning when I cook it. And now I'm gonna cook this up. I'm gonna let those saute. I have them on a medium-high heat. And while those are sauteing, I am going to crack my eggs and start getting them ready for my omelet. So I'm gonna when I crack eggs, I like to lay a paper towel down just so that I have a place to put my shells. And so I'm gonna crack, I have 8 eggs. This is gonna make 2 big omelets for our family. When you're making omelets, you're gonna need to pre-mix the eggs together. When I scramble my eggs, I typically just scramble them in the pan. I don't beat them, but if I'm making an omelet, I pre-beat them so that they're mixed up well. Okay, I've got my 8 eggs, and I'm just gonna toss these over to the side. I'm gonna grab a fork out and beat them with the fork until they're all mixed together. It's easier if you're beating something if you just turn it slightly on the edge. That way you can have a good swirling motion. It's easier to swirl when your hands can be. So I've got these. And you're just essentially wanting to beat them until all of the whites, the yolks have mixed it well together and you don't have any big glops of either one. So you see how they're well mixed together? So that's exactly what we want for our thing. I'm gonna just stir these a little bit. They're crisp, they're getting golden quite nicely. And then I'm gonna turn up my heat a little bit more. I wanna get a little bit browner edges on my onions because I want my onions to be soft and caramelized, not stiff. You making some music over there, Jack? Yeah? Did you find your xylophone, Alex? Cooking with 5 kids is always an adventure. There's always a little helper or a little friend coming in, creating chaos. But that's just the life of a mother, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Yeah? You telling me a story? Believe it or not, I actually have my doctorate in education from Vanderbilt. I worked up until I was pregnant with my 4th kid. And then I had a really bad accident at work, which caused me to almost lose my baby. And that's when I decided to step away because life's too short and I love my family. And now we have another one after that. And look at little chaos. Are you getting in our recycling? Are you getting in our recycling? Silly boy. But I've been home with them for the last couple of years and I've been enjoying it and loving it. It's a little joke my sister-in-law likes to say. Are you getting back in there, silly boy? Yeah. You can't have the recycling, dude. I know. You can't have it. Oh, come help Mama cook. Come help Mama cook. Yeah, come help Mama cook. Okay, so now if you look at our onions and our peppers and our mushrooms, they're sauteed up really nicely. Here I'm going just to throw in our tomatoes. Right at the end, this is just 1 tomato cut up. Do you want a bit of cheese? You can have a bit of cheese, bud. Yeah, we're gonna have this for breakfast. Yeah. So I've got all of our tomatoes in there. We're gonna stir these up. Excellent. Here you go, bud. You want a little bit more cheese? He's a little cheese addict. There we go. So I have my tomatoes in there, and I'm just gonna saute them just real nice until they sweat out. And while this is sauteing up, I'm going to turn on my pan over here for my omelets to about a medium-high. And this, you gotta use a non-stick pan because it will be hard with a regular one, it will stick. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of butter in it. The trick to getting your, don't need that much, your eggs are not to stick is to make sure your pan is hot before you pour it in. If it's cold, then it will cause the eggs to stick as it heats up. So look, our sauteed vegetables are looking beautiful, just the way I like them for an omelet. You could also add spinach, really any vegetable that you want in your oven. This one I just use red peppers, onions, tomatoes, and mushrooms. Sometimes I will add also in fresh basil, but we used a lot of basil recently, so my basil plant needs to recover a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn my sauteed vegetables off, and I'm gonna get a spatula out for this. Let's see. The spatula I wanna use is in the dishwasher. I like to use a nice thin spatula. It's easier for flipping, but I will make do with these two. Okay, I've got my butter around. I have it heating up, it's melting. Nice. And then right before I do my eggs, I want to pre-season my egg batter just a little bit. So I'm just going to take a good 2 pinches of salt and then mix it up. Because this is the only chance you're going to have to season your eggs until you do it afterwards, which doesn't ever blend as well. So I've got 2 good pinches of salt in there. I'm going to give that one big stir. And then it looks like this is nice. You see I've got a nice little sizzle here. And I'm gonna pour about half of my egg batter on here. And I'll save the other half for a second omelet in just a little bit. Okay, and now I'm gonna let this cook just a little bit. Let's see. We'll stir those up there. Even though I've turned off the heat, they're still cooking. And they're doing just great. My eggs, you can see, they're starting to bubble, which is what I want. I'm gonna just kind of swirl around to the edges just a little bit. You don't want to cook it on too high, so I'm turning it down to a 4. And now I'm gonna take my spatula here, and I'm gonna just kind of go up under, and then let the batter kind of fill up underneath. This allows it to cook a little bit faster. Some people like to do like a lid on top of it. I find if you do it just like this, it works just as well. And you can just kind of slide all of this over, just like that. And you just want to wait until you got most of your egg batter or your beaten eggs cooked. I've got it most swirled around. And then I'm gonna make my meat omelet first. So I've got first I'm gonna add a good healthy layer of cheese on 1/2. You only wanna put it on 1/2, otherwise you won't be able to fold it. And then I'm going to add some of my fresh bacon that I've crisped up. And then I take my sausage, I'm gonna break it up into some chunks, that way it's easier to eat. Just like this. Perfect. And I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna flip it over, a little bit more cheese on top, just like that. I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna let it sit there for just a second. And then I'm gonna get a plate, and I'm gonna put it on my plate because it's gonna heat all together. Just like this. You see, I have it underneath, and I'm just gonna slide it right off. So I've got my meat and cheese omelet ready. I'm gonna turn it down, my pan's a little bit warm. And then I'm gonna get another dollop of butter in here to warm it around. Your second egg or omelet will cook faster because your pan is more evenly heated. I'm gonna turn it down again because I just don't want it to burn. I'm gonna pour the rest of my egg mixture in here. And we're gonna let it bubble. You see how quickly this one bubbled up? Yeah. Just like this, nice. And then I'm gonna pick up some of the sides, let it form underneath. Are you singing us a song over there, Jackie? I'm gonna pop that bubble so I can get some nice egg mixture in it. And this one I'm going to make with my sauteed vegetables. Now I like to put some in, and then when I serve it I also like to put a big scoop on top because it's nice to have the flavors all over. So we're just waiting for this one. It's got some nice bubbling to it, and I'm just gonna slide my spatula up underneath, kind of lift it, and allow some of that egg yolk or egg mixture to slide underneath. That way my egg mixture doesn't get too overcooked. This cooks it faster. Otherwise, you have to wait for the residual to heat to kind of cook all the ones up top. So there, almost perfect. We're getting ready. Do a little swirl down. Again, a non-stick pan is key for making a good omelet. Otherwise, you have to have a really well-seasoned pan, and that can be really tricky because they like to stick. So I'm gonna spread all of this remaining, try to get it all around to cook, just like this. And you wanna try to get as much because nobody wants a goopy omelet. No. Yeah, you don't want a goopy omelet, Jack. No. There we go. Okay, so with this omelet, I'm going to put a good sprinkling of cheese down. Cover my 1/2 right here. And each one of these omelets is a 4-egg omelet. So it's a very big omelet. It's gonna feed multiple people. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of bacon as well in here. And I'll put a sausage as well. Break that up. Put it out. And now I'm gonna use my vegetables that I sauteed up. And I'm just gonna layer them nicely along here, just like this. Fill it up. You wanna make sure you got it spread all over so that every bite will have it. And then you wanna go over the top again with a little bit more cheese, because everybody loves a cheesy omelet. And now my side that I have nothing on it, I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna flip it. Oh, I missed that flip, there we go. I'm gonna flip it right there. And we're gonna let it sit for a second to let all of the insides melt. And then we'll be ready to transfer it to our plate. So on this plate right over here, I'm gonna scoot it over, we have our bacon and sausage and cheese one. And this one you can see is much bigger because it has more vegetables in it. It's also bacon, sausage, and cheese, but as well as our vegetable one. And this one's really big, so trying to get it to slide off. That's okay, it still tastes the same. And we are ready to try. I'm gonna turn off my pan. We'll get a fork out. I'm gonna cut into our sausage one that stayed nicely. You can see, you can pull it apart. You see you've got the nice cheese, sausage, and bacon in there. Try a little bite. Perfect. And then, this is my favorite because it's like, I got the mushrooms, the tomatoes, the peppers, and the onions. That one's definitely the winner for me. My kids like this one. My younger ones will eat this one with me because they haven't avoided vegetables yet. But if you guys enjoyed what you see, we have lots of cooking videos. I cook every day. Please like and subscribe.